Good morning. Before we get started today, please like and subscribe. Please share my channel. Please comment whether you agree with me or not. Thank you so much for being here. I love having you here. Today is Thursday for me. It is my Friday because of my work schedule, and we're coming up on a holiday weekend, the 4th of July, Independence Day in America. And I will be getting 2 days off, but my company pays me for that holiday, so that's really nice. But I am still packing. I'm packing to move, and this is my last couple of weeks in the city. I'm gonna miss this. I'm gonna miss this beautiful scenery here and the beautiful people who live here. There's a train going across the bridge above me. When I cross under, you might be able to see it behind me. I'll try to slow down a little bit here. And so if you look in my rear view mirror, maybe you can see the train going across. I'm not sure, I'm not looking. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about something that I haven't really gotten too deep into, but I haven't really been studying it or reading a lot about it, so maybe you can help me. If I say anything wrong, please let me know. If you have anything to add or share, please contribute. I love hearing from you. I'm always learning. But I wanted to talk about wave. I did watch a lot of videos a while back about particle and what they think a particle is made of, or what causes or creates a particle. And scientists have come to a theory that I don't know if it's a conclusion or if it's a, if they don't know for certain yet. I'm not exactly sure if it's positively the truth. So I don't want to claim this as fact, but it is something they're exploring. That they feel that a particle is not a solid. It's a bunch of it's the electrons, neutrons, protons, all the things that are flying around. And this is my simplistic version. I'm sorry, but basically things are always bouncing around. They're not just staying steady. Life and what we call solid matter and solids are not really physically solid. We think they are. We perceive them as solid. They're very dense to us in our perception, but they're not actually solid. They're actually a bunch of things flying around. And that a particle, they say, is like light at the top of a wave. And when they talk about wave, this is where a lot of the people who describe these things call it frequencies. We're on a certain frequency. And I say we're on a certain wavelength. A lot of the scientists talk about fields. There are different fields of information. There are different fields, and all possibilities are there at the same time in various fields created by wave. So correct me if I'm wrong about all that. That is my very simplistic kindergarten version of what I was hearing the physicists talk about a couple months ago. But I find it really interesting that they talk a lot about the particles being light on the wave. They even when they draw it out, whenever they explain it, and sometimes I have to watch the video 3 times. You'll have a junior physicist who's in 5th grade and he'll be explaining something on his YouTube video, and there I am watching it 3 times just to try to understand what he's saying. But it always looks like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. They show a picture of a wave. And we have sound waves, and they show them like this. We have waves in the ocean. We have, there are various things that we describe as wave. We have frequencies, and frequencies are what, we consider sound. There's the solfeggio frequencies. Those are sounds that they say resonate with our inner being. And so sound wave is one kind of wave, but then they basically describe all of life as being wave. And that's what I really wanted to kind of dig into. When I first got the idea, thought about doing this video about wave, what really started me on it was wanting to talk about sound. and how sound affects us. Because in my life, I don't know about any of you, let me know if this is true for you, but in my life, music has always basically narrated my life. Music is kind of like it's the music that, you know, creates memories for me in my subconscious. Whenever I think about certain periods of time in my life, when I listen to certain songs, I have playlists. And when I listen to, say, a playlist from the 90s, you know, that music, it isn't just, oh, I really love this music or I really enjoyed it. It's actually in me. That music almost defines that period of time in my life. It's very much a part of it. It doesn't just bring back memories. It actually creates feelings. It creates, it can adjust my mood, you know, when I listen to certain songs, because I associate them with a certain period of time in my life. Hold on a second. The guy in front of me is jamming on his brakes, and he's carrying what seems to be a lot of wood that's flying off his truck. But I have to be careful on this highway. There are all kinds of random happenings. Keeping my eye on him. But anyway, it really interests me how music affects us, because some people listen to music and they say, oh, I like that song. And other people are more like me, where, you know, music becomes a part of me. It actually becomes a part of my experience in a way that really gets deep into the core of who I am. There have been certain songs that I've listened to, and you know, it's almost like I have turned on a song and it has basically changed me in a certain way. I know that a lot of people who go to church, you know, the church music is a big part of church, because people, the worship music, you know, it stirs something in the core of our spirit of who we are. So music is very important, and music is also biblical. You know, there are a lot of references. I don't know how many. If anybody knows the number of references to music and how the Bible describes music, but it's very, very important. And that sound wave is meaningful. There's a strong meaning to sound, and a lot of people, a lot of scientists are starting to say that, you know, life is wave, and it's almost like a sound wave. It's almost like sound, what did they say? Sound and knowledge, or something like that. But life is created from that. So it only goes to say that it would affect us, you know, in a certain way. But as far as the wave of life, one of the things that physicists are trying to figure out is basically, you know, what is that made of? Is it's information, or it's knowledge, or it's you know, these are all things that they can't explain where it comes from, what it's made out of, but it resonates, and it's felt. It's not just seen or heard through our senses, but it's felt. And you know, light, I think they said light and wave is what creates reality. That makes sense, because the particle is light. And so in all of these theories that talk about how everything is possible all at once, I was talking to someone last night about quantum computing, and about the bits and the qubits, and how, you know, in quantum computing, all possibilities exist at once. And that's almost, I mean, well, it's not almost, that's mimicking quantum computing. The concept of quantum computing is mimicking what physicists feel creates our reality. So a lot of the things that we create as human beings, like artificial intelligence, I mean, you have to have intelligence in order to create artificial intelligence. And if quantum computing is using all possibilities to come up with information, they had to come up with that somewhere. And so more and more they're just digging into our reality, what it's made out of. Entanglement has a lot to do with the quantum computing. The fact that, you know, two things can affect each other from a distance of light years. They can actually be like, something can be spinning the same way here and something can be spinning along with it, mirroring it in another complete light years away. And, you know, one of these days, if they get into quantum computing and start to really come up with all this information, I just feel like one of these days they're going to start to find various fields. I really do. I just think we live in such an endless variety of fields that are all the possibilities happening at once. But as far as wave is concerned, I think that it's just very important when we're, you know, looking at our life, when we're living our lives and we're looking around at our reality, to know that if all of this is wave, you know, if particle and all of this that we see is wave, just like music is wave, and it's not actually physical, it's thought wave or consciousness wave, you know, it does really change how we not just how we perceive our lives, but how we react and how we respond to the things of life. Somebody the other day was talking about all these bad things that are happening in the world, and I was trying to explain this quantum reality, and they were like, no, these are just bad things happening in the world. And it's almost like when people talk about a 3D reality and a 5D reality, I learned the word for that. It's density. 3D is the density. Maybe it's the density of the particles, I'm not sure. Correct me if that's wrong. But 3D is the third density. It just means that things are all, you know, look physical here. And as you get up into the higher numbers of density, it's almost like they expand. I was using the analogy of a cloud. I'm looking at clouds here in the sky. I see white poofy clouds. And from here, when children paint clouds, they you know, color lines, and then they draw it in with white. They have a blue sky and they draw on these white clouds. It looks like something you could almost grab, you know, it looks like a cotton ball up there. But if you fly an airplane into a cloud, all of a sudden it starts to expand and you realize, wow, this is just a bunch of vapor. You know, I can go right through this. And actually everything physical is like that. It's like a cloud. I mean, if you get small enough, if you get a little spaceship and you go down tiny enough, you can get through just about anything. And so, you know, that's just very interesting, because it means that, you know, as quantum computing is created, and as we learn more and more about the wave and the particles and the wave of what creates life, and we understand that, wait a minute, this isn't solid. Life isn't living me. I'm living life. And my thoughts matter, and my attitude matters. My attitude of gratitude is what lives my life, and it's what I perceive. It's how I perceive things, and how I perceive things is how they're going to open up for me. So I just found that very interesting. I love the way music has always affected me. If music affects you, or if, you know, you have anything to add about wave or music or thought wave or any of these things, or quantum computing, because I think that's very interesting. They're really starting to move fast with this stuff. So it's not perfected by any means, but they're really moving towards it. They really want these things to start taking place. So the world is moving fast, and we're discovering new things every day. And I just find it so very interesting. But anyway, that's just food for thought. And I'm going to go ahead and get into the office. I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you next time.